Can we just, before we start, is all this the presenters present, Zama? Is everyone here? Can we start?
Yes, good morning, Deputy Chair. Good morning, Chair. We can start, Deputy Chair. The DM Gina is here. Minister Ndavini is actually joining. She's next, but DM Gina is ready.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning, Deputy Chair.
Good morning, Mama. Good
How are
morning.
you, Mama?
Oh, I think we must be before we properly start. Let us before we properly start with the briefing, let us wish the Chief Whip a very happy birthday. And I don't know who's going to sing for him.
It's me.
No.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday
to you. Happy birthday, dear Chief Whip. Happy birthday to you.
How old?
I'm old. Yeah, it will be done virtually today. Next time.
The cake, the cake.
Oh, tomorrow.
Tomorrow. We want cake.
Tomorrow.
We want cake. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yes, just before we start with the meeting, and because also it's our Chief Whip's special day, let us observe a moment of silence for prayer or meditation.
Recording in progress.
Thank you very much. And we really thank God for the life of our Chief Whip, our leader. That is really someone that made it very easy for all of us to adapt and to find our feet in the NCOP. We appreciate you as a person, Chief Whip. So may you have a blessed day. We will continue with the very important ministerial briefing. And just before we give to the chairperson to do the opening remarks, we just want to welcome everyone. And I think this is a very good measure of assuring that there is oversight and accountability by using this method. And I think it's actually a very good invention, of which we also need to commend the Chief Whip and his team for introducing this this instrument for making sure that there is accountability, but also to go over and beyond a debate where we will get the opportunity to interrogate much more deeper the areas of policy that is important for us as the people of the country. Having said that, I welcome everyone to this very important session, and I want to give over to the chairperson, the Honorable Boot Ambi Masondo, to do the opening remarks for us. Over to you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chair. Greetings to everyone and welcome. Director of Provinces, Honorable Sylvia, Minister for Trade, Industry and Competition, Honorable Ibrahim Patel, Minister of Small Business Development, Honorable Stella Ndabeni Adams, NCOP chairpersons, Honorable Nyambi, honorable special delegates, members of provincial executive councils, representatives of this local associations, ladies and gentlemen. Program Director, allow me to start by thanking you for the opportunity to make these opening remarks as we deal with an important subject matter pertaining to the township economy. Today's Ministerial Briefing Session directs us to focus on measures to unlock the full potential of the township economy and industries. As we all know, township is designed as dormitory town for the mining and other infrastructure are deliberately limited. However, this change, people live in townships to fight for. This has seen many townships, some winning and becoming economic and social hubs. This potential holds great promise. So one can say,
Chairperson, just a moment. Chairperson, can you just pause for a moment? Chief Whip, I have requested that someone look into the fact that the network bandwidth of Chairperson is low. So there is a bit of connectivity problems. Chief Whip, do you want to?
Thank you very much, Deputy Chair. It was about the matter really that makes it difficult for the chair to flow very well. But thanks that is receiving attention. All members are already chatting that there is a terrible a network, I think, where the chair could be located. Thanks.
Thank you, Chairperson. You may continue. We have requested a table to look into your connectivity issues.
Yes. No, thank you very much, Deputy Chair. I was saying that over time, this has changed as people who live in the townships use them amongst others to fight for change. This has seen many townships somewhat growing and becoming economic and social hubs. And I was emphasizing that this potential holds a great promise. So one can say we are still to realize the true potential of townships, given the growing numbers of people who reside in them. On challenges faced by township economies, Program Director, the limited growth of township-based businesses is the result of many challenges faced by such enterprises. According to research, the challenges identified in the literature that limit growth of township businesses are, amongst others, the following. Firstly, there's the question of informality. As most enterprises in townships are survivalist or very small, they tend often not to be registered. This poses additional challenges with regard to access to finance and government funding. Then there's the question of access to credit. Given their informal nature, township businesses find it difficult to access credit from formal sources such as banks, because of the requirement that the business should be registered. However, government departments and entities seem able and seem willing to assist in this regard. The Small Enterprise Finance Agency, an entity of the Department of Small Business Development and the National Empowerment Fund, and the Industrial Development Corporation, entities of Department of Trade, Industry and Competition, are key in ensuring that township businesses access finance. These entities offer financial and non-financial support to small businesses. Most critical is the non-financial support offered to businesses to enable them to access funding from these entities. Then there's a question of lack of value chains. Often, program director, there are no value chains amongst businesses in the townships. Businesses rarely source inputs from other small businesses in the townships. Instead, from larger enterprises elsewhere. A significant portion of their money leaves the township economy instead of circulating within it for even greater growth. Then there's the question of access to markets. The nature of businesses in the township require that they offer products and services that are in good demand by local residents. Where township business produce products that can be used beyond the township, they tend to face the challenge of accessing other markets. This is due to the requirements for certain product standards, health or quality certification, and packaging, amongst others. While township entrepreneurs can be innovative, they tend to lack resources required to meet product standards acceptable in other markets. On competition, township businesses are mainly retail businesses who source their products from larger enterprises that are either wholesalers or even retailers as well. Township businesses therefore have to compete with these enterprises for the sale of their goods, which may be cheaper from the larger enterprises. Then there's a question of legislation. From Director, there is a lack of consistency and uniformity in informal trading policies and municipal bylaws, as each municipality and provincial department designs their own laws, leading to fragmentation in the promotion of township economy. Then there's a question of red tape. Within government, red tape has consistently been identified as one of the core elements which restricts business development and growth. Barriers in this regard to finance, markets, training, and skills development, ineffective interventions, addressing tensions between local and foreign-owned businesses, as well as recourse for dispute resolution for SMMEs. There are also other challenges, which include, amongst others, the following. The allegations of small business operators by Metro Police and the South African Police Services who demand kickbacks, thereby ruining and negatively affecting business profits. Then there's the question of municipalities demanding small businesses operating from residential homes to rezone their residential homes as business premises, thereby requiring small businesses to pay business rates which are exorbitant and therefore tend to deplete a profit. On the need for innovative thinking, Program Director, there is no doubt that our township possesses a huge potential which requires unlocking. And with some dreaming, some vision, some dreaming, we can begin to unlock the potential of the township economy and industries. The German or Jewish scientist, Albert Einstein, is credited with the following words, quote, "Never give up on what you really want to do. The person with big dreams is more powerful than the one with all the," close quote. Let me just repeat again, quote, "Never give up on what you really want to do. The person with big dreams is more powerful than the one with all the facts," close quote. This is based on the fact that the person who dares to dream often has a broader perspective in life and thus has the possibility to achieve more because of his or her openness of thought. One example in this is the form of the founder of the Grameen Bank, known as the Bank of the Poor in Bangladesh, Professor Muhammad Yunus. He achieved his dream of disbursing collateral-free loan of $35 billion to more than 10 million borrowers, 97% of whom are women. As of September 2022, despite the bank's loan not requiring collateral, have ensured the lucrative recovery rate of 97.38%, which is comparably higher than any other banking systems and any other similar experience. This is but one example of how we should begin to reimagine our interventions in unlocking the potential of our township economy and industries. We need to think differently, driven by the conviction that people have solutions to address the challenges they confront, and that all they need is support. In Soweto and elsewhere in the country, we have industrial parks. I'm sure many of you remember this, the industrial parks that were meant to boost local economies, but have now collapsed or are collapsing. We need to be more innovative in coming up with solutions and be prepared to try new ideas, working together, of course, with the people. In conclusion, Program Director, our townships were designed to serve the needs of other industries with limited or no economic infrastructure. However, their growth or mere existence has created the possibility to use this to unlock the potential of the economy and industries. I believe that working together with the people, we can explore various creative ways of achieving this. So working together with the people, we can definitely achieve more. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Thank you indeed for a very befitting manner of setting the trend for this discussion of today on the measures to unlock and grow the full potential of the township economy, as our theme for the day is reflecting. And we will invite the Deputy Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition, the Honorable Nomalungela Gina, someone that is always a friend of the NCOP. We've got few friends as the NCOP and we know them, and you are always a friend of the NCOP. And we want to welcome you to do the presentation on behalf of the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition. Over to you, Honorable Deputy Minister.
Chairperson, I'm rising on a point of order.
And the order is?
Chairperson, we note the absence of the MEC from Gauteng. Last time we raised the issue of Gauteng and Northwest, ignoring the NCOP, ignoring the invitation of the NCOP. Chairperson, I just want to make this point, and I want you to rule on that it's unacceptable and disrespectful to the council for provinces to ignore such important invitations, and they are just disrespecting the mandate of this council. It is in the best interest of provinces, as you know, that we are representing provinces, for them to always heed to the call of attending such important gatherings so that they respond to issues pertaining to their provinces. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Makause. Honorable Ryder, you have raised your hand also.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I'd like to support Honourable Makause's comments because you know, if one transgression is happening, then there can be a good reason for it. But there seems to be a degree of consistency from Gauteng in not attending our meetings. I was called to order when I raised the matter at the last meeting, and I accepted that, hoping that something would be done. But Chairperson, I mean, even noting that Gauteng has a new premier, and as a delegation from Gauteng, we asked for a meeting with the premier. We haven't even had the courtesy of being introduced to the new premier. So there appears to be something a little bit deeper in the issue of the relationship between the NCOP and the executive in the Gauteng province. And I really ask, Chairperson, that there be a discussion held from the Chairperson's level with the Gauteng executive, and that we get to the bottom of this and just establish that this House should be respected. This House has a role to play, and we can work together in furthering the interests of the people of Gauteng, but only if involvement and cooperation.
Thank you, honorable members. I really take note of what you are saying, and we will deal with that issue. But also, if you call a point of order, you can also not make a speech. That is also something that I just want to address, not only for those that spoke now, but generally. If we call order, let us stick to the point and be concise and to the point. Honorable Dangor, and Honorable Dangor, let me not preempt what you are going to say. You can continue.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chairperson. Chairperson, a letter was submitted.
Comrade Dangor, Honorable Dangor, sorry, can I just request, don't explain on behalf of Gauteng. You are the whip of Gauteng, together with the chief whip. Can you bring your delegation together and you address it with your province? And you address it with your province. I don't want anyone to defend anyone here unless we don't have the facts. And I don't want the facts now from you because we haven't heard the apologies. We don't know who made an apology. Can I request, although you are from different parties, but you are the delegation from Gauteng, particularly yourself and Honorable Ryder, and can I request the chief whip to assist you to facilitate a meeting with Gauteng, because we are part of the Gauteng provincial legislature. You are part of that, with Gauteng, and you discuss this issue. Because we are busy with a very important topic today, can we be allowed to continue? In the meantime, as the whip of Gauteng, just speak with the chief whip and you address the Gauteng issue, because we cannot make the issue of Gauteng now to stop our program or to hold us up here. Let us just continue. I just want not only Gauteng, because even my own whip are complaining many times about Northern Cape if they are not present. So let us address that issues in our provinces so that it doesn't become an issue on the agenda of the NCOP, because we can't be busy with issues of attendance. We are not school principals or prefects. What we must be addressing is the issues that is on our agenda. I'm sorry, Honorable Dango, I don't want you to defend Gauteng. I don't want anyone to defend any province. All that I want is for people to work together to make sure that we are effective and efficient in the NCOP. Thank you. Can we then now continue? Thank you. I'm sorry, Ambassador. Can we then now? Yes,
Chairperson, I had raised this in the programming meeting. There's a clash of programs. A budgetary meeting is taking place in Gauteng today, and the NCOP meeting is taking place today. But I don't think we must play politics with this matter. It's an administrative matter. We need to take it administratively. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Dangor, the issue why I'm not allowing this to be an issue, what was raised by the members is that they say consistently, it seems as if Gauteng is not attending. But since we haven't investigated it and we cannot confirm it, that is why we are requesting the Chief Whip to deal with it, because we've got a very important program that we must continue with. I hope you understand where I'm coming from.
Person, may I address?
You
May I
can
address?
address. You can address.
I've listened to you carefully on your response and trying to give guidance in this regard. But Chairperson, you cannot come here and make utterances that we're not going to keep attendances of people and other provinces as if we're school principals. Chairperson, we represent provinces here. And as
Can I call you into order, Honorable Makause? Can I call you?
And not interrupt. Let me speak.
Can I call you? Can I call you?
And you did not.
Can I call you into order, Honorable Makause? Can I call you into order?
Can
I call you into order?
And as a whip
of call you into order
under me.
Order.
Honorable Makause, can I call you into order, please?
Honorable Dango just spoke and I deliberately let him speak, knowing that you're not going to interrupt him. I'm a whip of the party.
I interrupted Honorable
Order,
Dango
Chair.
immediately when he started speaking. I interrupted Honorable Dangor. I interrupted Honorable Dangor. I interrupted Honorable Dangor and he never become agitated. I interrupted him immediately when he wanted to respond. I did respond on behalf of Gauteng. I interrupted him.
The mic.
If we, can you please?
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Chair. Thanks, Honorable Mukausi, for raising a matter of concern together with Honorable Ryder from the Gauteng province. I take full responsibility, Deputy Chair, that as you have directed, that we will have a keen interest in terms of the account into what could have led to this situation. Of course, we'll deal with it because it differs. Last week, the presidency hosted the GBV summit, which prevented the Gauteng MEC for Safety to join us because they were the host province. But it matters differs, but I think we'll take a keen responsibility to ensure that we follow on the concern expressed by members here. As correctly said, this is not a phase for apologies, accepting or not, but deal with the issue that we are deprived when provinces do not participate at this level, where we are assessing the progress that we are making in the country. Thanks very much. We'll do so.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, Honorable Chief Whip. I think that deal with the issue because it is an important issue. Like I've said before, even our own whip have complained if there are members that are not necessarily attending. We do accept that if there is apologies, but if members are noting that there is consistent absence of a province, that is something that need to be addressed with the necessary expediency. Honorable Arnold, you want to? Can you unmute?
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson, and good morning.
Good morning.
Deputy Chairperson, I just want to raise this point that you must investigate, please. If our work was muted by the table, because we can't allow just that WUPs can be muted like that. And there was a person that shouted mute. Can that be investigated, Chairperson? Because we can't allow this to happen.
Noted, Honorable Arnold, because I think there was a problem of network. That's what I have observed, but we will look into the specific issue. Honorable members, can we now be allowed to continue with the program as in front of us, and we then call on the Deputy Minister, to whom I want to apologize that we took a bit long whilst we have already called you, and you can now continue with the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, who is the Deputy Chairperson of the NCOP. Let me greet Obabo Masondo, the Chairperson of the NCOP, Chief Whip, Babu I will say so. Greetings to the honorable members, including all the MECs from our provinces, those who are here. I nearly said all of them just after this discussion, but all of those who are here, greetings to you, all MEC, my colleagues, and ladies and gentlemen. Chair, as the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition, we are really happy to come and share with the NCOP when it comes to this very important topic, and it's one of the areas where we really believe that they will, when we talk to the issues of township and rural economy, once we focus and we put all our efforts in making sure that we support this sector of our economy, it's one area that is going to grow, and it's one area that is going to make a lot of changes towards the economic growth of our country, where quite a number of people can get a beautiful opportunity and platform to contribute in the economic growth of our country. Maybe, Chair, before I even go to the slides that I'm having, I'm not sure whether, I know it was sent to the NCOP. I'm not sure whether it can be shared on the screen. If I can check on that one, Chair, is it possible?
Host, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you clearly.
Chair, I was saying the sharing of the slides. Is it possible?
No, I was just, that's why I called on the host, because I had sharing, but I thought they will be assisting you automatically. So
Okay.
we can just ask them. Zama, can you guys facilitate, please?
My apologies, Deputy Chair, we just got it. We're setting it up. DM, we're setting it up in a minute.
Okay.
In the meantime, you can continue.
I can continue. It's fine. Thank you very much, Chair. We know very well, as I'm saying on my introduction, as you say, when we talk to the issues of township and rural economy, this is at the center of the triple challenges that we are faced with when we talk to the issues of high levels of unemployment, the persistent poverty that we are faced with as a country, and the record of high levels of inequality. Unemployment is exceptionally high amongst the youth, women, blacks, those with lower levels of education, and those who reside in historically excluded areas such as townships and the rural areas. Poverty levels are relatively high in townships, in rural areas. In township, it is estimated at around 55.5 as in 2022, promoting economic divide between the suburbs and the cities and historically excluded areas such as townships and rural areas. And that is resulting in a very, very high Gini coefficient of 63% for South Africa, making it the most unequal society in the world. That is exactly why we are saying it is important that we are seated around like this today to say, what is it that we can do to make sure that we make a dent and we improve on this high percentage that we are faced with as a country. Again, when we look at our township and rural areas, we see that the existing manufacturing is characterized by short value chains and hardly any integration with external markets, with majority of products sold by township enterprises exclusively produced by large companies outside the communities, outside the townships. Again, that is the question that we are here to say, what is it as Department of Trade, Industry and Competition, together with other departments like our sister department, small business, together with our MECs in the province, that we can do together in making sure that when it comes to this challenge of these short value chains, how do we make sure that our manufacturers from the townships from the rural areas form part of the bigger value chain, and they play that important role. And that is what we are trying to do, and we are going to get into that, Chairperson, as we continue. The reimagined industrial strategy, that normally called RIS, represent a multi-pronged approach of industrial development and emphasizes on building partnerships with the private sector to catalyze job creation investments. The reimagined industrial strategy, revitalization of township, is one of the 5 engines of growth with a particular objective of achieving the economic growth. When I talk to those 5 engines that we find in the reimagined industrial strategy, it's important that I mention them, because we talk to the issues of industrialization there, where we look at the master plans that we are having. And it's very important, I'm going to touch a little bit on the master plans as to say, how do they benefit our people, most especially in the township and in the rural areas. Another engine of growth of our RIS is the investment infrastructure. That is where we are saying, how do we leverage even on the private sector in making sure that we expand when it comes to that. Once we do that, our people, we are going to be benefiting on that. Touching on another engine of growth, 5 of them is the part of the innovation, the digital economy. What is it that we do? And that is why, even as the department, together with our sister department, even in our industrial parks, we make sure that we have got digital hubs, because we strongly believe that the part of innovation is going to play a very important role in growing our economy and with people getting into that. So it's part of those 5 engines of growth when we look at the reimagined industrial strategy. Then we talk to the issues of integration. The one that I've just mentioned is to say, when it comes to the township and rural economy, that integration, you are still struggling, but with the plans, with the programs that are already in place, working together with the provinces, that is where we are going to say, where we are getting to, is to say, how do we integrate this economy when we look at it? Then the very last one, where I said the township, the revitalization of township economy forms part of these 5 engines of growth, is the issue of inclusion. How do we revitalize the township economy? How do we boost the SMMEs? How do we make sure that we create a number of jobs? So this is what we are saying. It forms part of our reimagined industrial strategy. Again, Chair, I want to touch on the glaring concern that is there, where we look at the overall picture. It is a concern, and I'm happy that as a government, we are on top of it, we are addressing it, where we see that overall picture of how the 3 spheres of government collaborate in making sure, when it comes to the local economies, how in making sure that we make sure that these local economies ultimately feed into the national economy trajectory. The DDM approach that we are using, the manner that we get into working the national, the province, working with the local government, the LEDs there, we are trying to make sure that when it comes to that approach, we are all in one, on the same ground, and we are all approaching it as to say, how best can we all come together and make sure that this national economic strategy is realized through working together. So that is what the 3 spheres of government are looking at. And as DTIC, we are playing a very vital role when it comes to that. Summarily, townships have significant heterogeneity with varying challenges and opportunities. That is why when we approach the issue of township and rural economy, really, there is no one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to that. We are going to be engaging in this. We are working with the provinces. NCOP, we know we are always working with you so that we get to what is proper for, that we get a solution that is fit for that particular area. So we are saying really in whatever approach that we are doing, that is why even when we engage with various provinces. It's because we want to get and find the solutions that are fit for purpose for that certain area. The program statement that I've just mentioned, Chairperson, is the absence of a coherent policy and strategic alignment to address the township and rural economies among the three spheres of government. I've said we are working on that, and it's one thing really where we are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, where we are saying how best can we work together so that we have that coherency when it comes to the policies and how do we get into our communities to assist them. Another one is the information asymmetry that is still a factor in determining the winners in the economy. The high levels of unemployment giving rise to uncontrollable crime syndicates that often lead to the collapse of economic development and initiatives. This has become the demon really that is attacking almost all the province, but emanating from the high levels of unemployment. And by us getting together like this to say how best can we make sure that we assist when it comes to the township and rural economy so that we find a number of people playing a role in the economic development. We really believe this is one thing, this crime syndicate that has started, it's one thing that we'll be trying to respond to, and we are going to see it getting lesser and lesser with all the efforts that we can put together as we are all here. The lack of facilities, again, for logistic and distribution supplies leads to inefficient supply and services delivery in township and rural economies. Again, I will touch a little bit on that as we say, what is it, the programs that we are leading, getting into the communities, into the townships. Chair, around the period of the unrest, more especially that took place in Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal, we, even as a department, we are approached by local business people in some of the townships in these provinces to say, do you see the need of logistics and the distributions when it comes to the supplies? After our communities have suffered because there was no trucks coming in and out, so we took that stance as to say we are going to work with our rural economies, our rural companies in making sure that we work on that area as to say when it comes to the issues of logistics, the distribution, what is it that we can do so that our townships, our rural areas can be self-sustainable when it comes to that. The poor linkages to the national value chains is one thing, again, that is a challenge that we are looking at. And the uncoordinated approach on financial support, we see that resulting in failure of sustaining the government-led infrastructure development initiatives. We are happy, Chair, that NCOP, you called us together like this because this is, again, one of the platforms where we're saying how best can we have that coordinated approach when it comes to the financial support. I'm going to be speaking even on our own agencies, what they're doing with our departments, that provinces will be coming with such, small business will be coming with such, but at the end of the day is to say we are all targeting one and the same communities, one and the same. We've got one objective. So how best can we coordinate these things so that at the end of the day we see the impact of what we are doing as government? What are the objectives? Can you move to the next slide, Zama, if ever it's you? The objectives of township and rural economy intervention. Our objectives is that we want to develop a coherent township and rural economic development framework. What we are planning to do to support the township enterprises is that we want to cluster them in, to support the township enterprise hubs, the zones. In other provinces, they call it zones or clusters. We want to including them in the economic corridors to improve and to promote the inter-provincial and cross-border development in partnership with the provinces, our DFIs, and the private sector and the industries. That is the work that we are hard at doing. And we have even started in our industrial parks where we cluster them so that we know exactly as to say in this province, this is where we are strong in. We are using that, even using the DDM approach, because in all the 52 municipalities, we have written to them as to say, if ever we can get one manufacturing, one activity. If I say one, I mean to say the activities within that municipalities, as to say, when it comes to the issues of trading, when it comes to the issues of cross-border development. Right now we are celebrating that we are in the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, but what is it that we are taking there to the continent, to the international world? So the approach of DDM again, where we can find each and every municipality having something to take out to the cross-border, it's one thing that we are saying when it comes to the improvement of rural and township economy, we want to see that being featured in so that we see the economy growing in those areas. We want to understand, to identify and quantify the economic opportunities, that is, the opportunities that can drive localization and import substitution in our rural and township economy. We're doing that in collaboration with the industry, the chambers, the councils in various provinces, and also using the local municipalities. And we are working very closely with LEDs in the municipalities, because we strongly believe that that is where we can even manage to get the real database as to what is happening, get the clearer picture. And when it comes to the local municipality, the procurement spend that is to drive the localization, we are very in discussions. We are assisting those locals to be able to manufacture, so that even when it comes to the municipal procurement spend, it can be easier for them to spend within their own municipality or within the country, so that we can see that circulation of money and see our small and our rural and township companies benefiting from this. We want to provide the critical infrastructure support, primarily for manufacturing and value-add opportunities investment, as I've mentioned, in the state-owned industrial parks that are in the townships and that are rural-based. And also, we are developing a diagnostic growth framework to guide the inclusive economy and equity practices for sustaining township and rural economies and industrial clusters that we find in those areas. In mapping the existing economy and non-economic factors that are endemic in the construct of township and rural economy, it's what we are doing. We are identifying those opportunities, as I've said. That slide, it's still continuing on that. Even this slide, Chair, it's trying to explain more how are we even profiling what we have in the township and in the rural economies. But what I can assure the honorable members is that whilst we are still profiling in this side, it doesn't mean that we are folding our arms, we're not doing anything. We're still going to get into what is the assistance and the programs that we are having in making sure that, and trying to showcase our work that we are doing when it comes to the support we are giving to the township and rural economy, of which I want to emphasize that most of the time we are giving both the financial and the non-financial support, because most of our companies, if we haven't given the non-financial support, we can inject whatever amount of funding that they need. But if they haven't got that non-financial support as to say how to run a business, what is it that you need to have a sustainable business, we find most of them falling down and maybe getting into liquidation. So it's one other area that, together with our sister department, we are very strong at in making sure that they are supported even on non-financial basis, so that they can be able to run those businesses in a very proper manner. Can I get into the slide of the one on progress to date? The service provider that we have, I said we are working on trying to dissect, trying to understand more, and looking at what is there, where can we get in and even improve more. We even have a service provider that we have just appointed for very few months to look, appointed in September, and by March next year, we must be having that final report as to say, what is it that they do if we want to map and identify all these opportunities in the 20 townships that we want to pilot in, but from those 20 townships, we want to spread into the 52 townships that we get amongst the 52 districts that we have and metros that we are having. The rural economic nodes will also be included in the mapping exercise. The following are key considerations for township and rural sampling. One, they need to linkages with other townships and the broader economy. Secondly, the population density and migration patterns, the extent of industrialization and past industrialization, demographic profile with the majority giving to township with a high share of young people and women, and also the extent of government and private sector interventions. And we want to extract these from the lessons and best practices of what has already been done to say what lessons can we learn in making sure that we expand on what we have already. The prevalence of government's priority sectors, the prevalence on the entrepreneurship and SMMEs, and the availability of up-to-date data. That is why I'm saying when it comes to that, we are even working very closely with the LEDs, because that is where we get this data and we up-to-date and we update it together with the municipalities, because it helps us to have a clearer picture of what is it that we are faced with. We work on 4 metros, townships. The work on 4 metros and townships have started with other stakeholders. Engagement with stakeholders for the development of business case studies started in the following areas. In eThekwini, that is KwaMashu and Umlazi, we are working on a distribution and logistic hubs. There is a proposal where they said, as I've said, after all those challenges that we were faced with in these 2 provinces, we got a team even from that province to say, what is it that we can do? Where can we come in making sure when it comes to distribution logistics, we do have these hubs within our townships and in our rural areas. So, and KwaMashu and Umlazi, we are working on those, and we are now progressing really in making sure that we help in that distribution and the logistics hubs that we are having. At Seguruleni, the Labour Industrial Park, we are working to repurpose the factories for township clusters. When I talk of township clusters, we've got people on clothing, textile, we've got people on vegetables working, we are clustering them as to say, when they come together as clusters, they can have more muscle even to get into the space, even to supply to the retail, to the retail and have that quantity. And because that is what we are looking at, we are trying to say, if our people are not clustered, really, where you find the chair doing her own thing at the corner, the chief whip doing his own thing at the corner. But once our people come together and they are clustered, they get that muscle, they come with quantities, and they can even have a voice in making sure that they even determine, they have a voice even in the pricing when it comes to the market out there. So it's one thing that we are looking at when it comes to that. City of Joburg, we are revitalizing the feasible industrial parks in Soweto, in Orlando, in Dobsonville, again, with the whole intention of making sure that when it comes to those industrial parks, our people, they get the good infrastructure for them to be able to promote whatever they want to do when it comes to the township economy, and we are there to assist them. West Coast, Saldanha Bay, we're clustering the clustering of the SMMEs there for opportunities of using public and local private industry opportunities. City of Tshwane, we are repurposing and developing the township manufacturing hub at Babelechi Industrial Park. Buffalo City, in the Eastern Cape, we are creating a township enterprise hub at Dibaza Industrial Park. So these are just some of the work that we're doing. This is some of the examples that I'm coming up here to say, indeed, there are things that we are doing in making sure that when it comes to township economy, we are working on that. Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal economic development, the policy alignment and the development of joint support measures to address township economy. We are also piggybacking on these policies that these two provinces have worked on, and we wish to see this such kind of policies really reaching out to almost all of provinces, because they form the springboard of where we can get in and work when it comes to the issues of township and rural economy. Let me talk to the National Business Initiative, the NBI, the collaboration with private business association to promote investment into the township-based industrial parks and to address the skills gaps through the work-based capacity development. It's what we're engaged on. And also, we're looking at the manufacturing, the services cluster, where we're collaborating with the Township and Rural-Based Network Association to package the support for critical infrastructure support. Chair, I just want to say we have got very good township and rural-based network associations, and together we're working very hard in making sure that we make sure that the dreams, it's not the dreams, I don't want to use the word dreams, the projections, the plans that they are having, they are realized. So we are looking at that as to make sure, how do we make sure that they realize their dreams? These are some of the case studies, Chairperson and honorable members, where when we talk to the issue of the case studies that we're having when it comes to township and manufacturing hub that we are looking at, the location of those that I've just highlighted there, we see them at Babelechi, Butabelo, Dimbaza, and all those. So what we are doing there is to provide a secure and competitive industrial infrastructure to support local manufacturing and enterprises. Again, I've just prepared some of the case studies that you can look at. That is the one of our very good case study, the family tree holding. As I was saying, when it comes to these associations, the township and the rural-based association that we are working with, the family tree holding, it's one of those associations that are it's a very good township-based national network on manufacturers working with the department. Right now, their membership is far above 30,000 nationwide. What do? They facilitate the provision of competent manufacturing and supplier development base through dedicated program that we manage the support, and they are developing feasible businesses to locate within the township manufacturing hub, and those are such associations that we are working with. Again, that is another example of what we are working with, the green economy opportunities. It's located in Gauteng, that one in Sharpeville. The objective is to facilitate the provision of e-mobility and off-grid energy solution for urban farming to promote sustainable township. I know, I was going to say, some of these case studies that I'm highlighting here, even the MECs, they are going to be talking even more on them because we are working very close with them. But as DTIC, we are also putting a very strong arm when it comes to some of these case studies that I'm sharing with you right now. Again, that one is in Ngonyama Holding, based in KZN, working with the Traditional Trust with more than 3.3 million hectares in rural areas, where we're trying to facilitate and coordinating all these clusters in making sure that when it comes to the development of those rural economies, we are there. We are in partnership with KZN when it comes to that, and Itala, where it's one other project that we are saying we are working very well with. But before I even continue on the targeted, what we are targeting for 2022-23, I want to touch again on the agencies that we are working with as the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition Chairperson. As DTIC, we've got our agencies. Let me first speak on what we are doing with NEF. ENEF, it's one agency that we seek to leverage what we are currently having as packages of incentives towards township development in a more streamlined manner, Chairperson, and we are working very close with the NEF as DTIC in a very streamlined manner to support the work that the department is working there. For an example, ENEF is very strong when it comes to township and rural development, in developing the economies when it comes to that. We've got fund management divisions, which consists of 5 specialist funds that the NEF is having. We have got Imbeu Fund. It's solely for the SME development. We have got the Rural Township and Community Development Fund, where the NEF is focusing and targeting in making sure that they develop, they assist the companies coming from those areas. We've got Umnoto Fund from the NEF, where we assist the medium-sized businesses and mostly biased towards the rural and the town and the township economy. We have got Strategic Projects Fund, where we look at how do we develop the Black industrialists coming from these areas, and the Women Empowerment Fund, where by all means the NEF is trying to make sure that we move towards making sure that we support the rural women coming from the urban and the rural areas. So those are the 5 divisions that we are saying as the NEF. We are very proud and we are working very well when it comes to that. These funds, they provide the financial support for Black-owned businesses of different sizes, with a focus on enterprises that operate in the township and rural areas. The funds aim to facilitate the meaningful participation of Black entrepreneurs that operate their businesses in rural areas and townships and peri-urban areas. They also execute the NEF mandate to support government's economic policies to seek the development and to develop a high sector growth that are labor intensive, to support the district development model and the Build Back Better initiative spearheaded by DTIC. We also have IDC, Honorable Chairperson. IDC again has placed a very special focus on supporting the growing of the township economy. This support has been directed primarily through 4 pathways, which is financing of projects and businesses located in and around townships through the normal IDC business products, the social impact funding mechanism and initiatives, and seeking innovation solutions and strategies. They also fund and facilitate the facilitation of partnerships, because we are saying for our companies to grow in those areas, those strategic partnerships are very important, and IDC is playing a very important role there in facilitating the partnership so that we don't see our companies that are still growing drowning. So we are really happy on the work that the IDC is doing when it comes to that. Amongst the IDC mandates, performance areas related directly to support the township economies are the following. They have a mandate to create inclusive employment opportunities. They have a mandate to support local economic development initiatives. They have a mandate of fostering entrepreneurship and supporting the SME sectors, particularly youth, women, Black industrialists, people living with disability. And also, they have a mandate of being a catalyst for private and public sector investments. So, Chair, I know the provinces are going to touch more even on the Township Economy Partnership Fund that IDC is having with the government, because that is where we work very well with the township. I might not get into that, but I will leave that to the members, to the MEC, even to touch on that, and how best can we make sure that even with other provinces, when it comes to the issue of this funding, we work with IDC. When it comes to the Township Economy Partnership Fund, we all want to get in there and say what best can we do so that we reach out to so many people in our areas. So the Genesis, the service provider that I've talked to, Chairperson and honorable members, they need to complete their study by the 2023, March 2023, where they will be mapping and identifying all the opportunities that you are having and for the development and the growth on that sector. 4 township manufacturing enterprises have been initiated in the industrial parks. I've touched on that. We are also developing we want to develop and come up with a very dedicated funding mechanism to help to support the township and rural economies, where we are saying all the 3 spheres of government, we want to come together and say how best can we move together. And as DTIC, with all our DFIs and our entities and agencies, it's one area that we are putting up there to say, when it comes to rural and township economy, Honorable Chair, it's where we are assured as to say they can create quite a number of jobs working on that. But before I end, Chair, I just want to touch a little bit on the master plans that we are having as the DTIC, where we are trying to make sure that when we talk to the issues of clusters, what is it then that we are having for our people to be able to leverage on what is already there? This social impact, the compact that we are having with the labor, with the big companies, with business, it's helping us a lot. Let me make an example of the clothing and textile sector that we are having. Right now, the master plan, we are reaping a lot of fruits from such. Right now, in our deep rural parts of our country, we find companies like TFG, where you get into Foschini stores, you get in your Truest stores, you find clothings, you buy your clothes, you buy your suits there, but they are being manufactured, they are being sued in the deepest areas, where we are saying, how do they make sure that these big companies, they have, when it comes to the issues of the whole value chain, where do they source what we find in those shops? And we're seeing a very good working relationship with our incoming people in the sector of clothing and textile. They are sewing for these big companies. You find, even when it comes to clothing, leather and footwear, we find these small companies that are doing these shoes, taking it to big companies like Cabo Woolworths. You find our shoes, but when you look at where the whole value chain, where these shoes have been made, we see these big companies now contracting our own people in their backyards, in their deep rural areas, giving them specification and giving them something to live on, to do all this work for them. And we are very excited in seeing that. Right now, again, we are just about to finish our furniture master plan. It's so amazing to see the furniture that you get in the garages of people in their township, in the rural areas. So we are saying, what is it that we can do to make sure that we coordinate all this so that we even have our own taste of furniture as South African? We are saying now, let us stop getting to your house and say, oh, that is a Chinese style, that is a German style. What is it that we can bring to make sure that we bring that African taste in our own furniture? And we are doing a very good job when it comes to that. So really, we are saying all the hands are on deck when it comes to making sure that we promote township and rural economy. Yes, we are here to say, we are not saying we have done it all. We see there are such a lot of opportunities, and there is a lot of work that we still need to do, but something has been done, something we have started. But we are always saying it's good for us to always come to Parliament like this, because in whatever, when you question us, in the contributions that you give to us, you make us even go back as the department to say, let us take all the inputs that our own public representatives have given to us, and the ways that you advise us even to shape to drive the economy of our country to be better. So we are here again to say, we are here to listen. We know there are so much lessons that we are going to get from the discussion at this level. So thank you very much, Chairperson, for affording us this opportunity to have this short presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Minister. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Thank you. So thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Minister. We will still continue, and the next presentation will be by the Minister of Small Business Development, the Honorable Stella Ndabeni. Honorable Minister, you may continue with your presentation.
Thank you so much, House Chair. Good morning to all the honorable members. Good morning to ministers and
Honorable Minister, we've got a serious problem with your connectivity. You are not.
Other people that may have joined us as we undertake this work that we are.
Honorable Minister, I think they must assist you with your connectivity. It is serious. Seriously, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Honorable Chair?
Yes, partially we could hear you, but you can continue so that we can just make sure whether it is still the case. You may continue.
Thank you so much, House Chair. As I was greeting all the honorable members in the call, greeting all other participants, ministers and deputy ministers, and want to thank the NCOP for giving us an opportunity to come and share the work that we do in relation to township and rural enterprise support as part of Bill
Maybe you can leave and try to log on again.
Enhancing the efforts towards
Honorable
this
Minister,
prioritize. Honorable
Minister, let me advise you to leave the platform and then log on again, because from time to time we are experiencing the issues that you have a problem. So we can take it from there. Honorable members, I'm just trying to address the issue of the audibility of the minister, because it is quite a challenge. We didn't have load shedding for the past few days. It's just that sometimes the network is a problem. Can the table just advise whether the minister is back in?
Deputy Chair, could we make a request? I see the DG is ready to do the presentation. He was going to do it with the minister. Could we ask the DG to proceed while minister is sorting out the connection?
Can we just find out what is the progress with the minister herself? Because I'm sure she would want to do some introductory remarks before we continue. Can we just make sure, if at all she's still experiencing challenges, we can continue with the DG?
The minister is just joined. Deputy Chair, one second.
Honorable Chair, I'm not sure if I'm audible now.
You are, it's much better. You may continue. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and apologies for earlier. Honorable Deputy Chair, as I indicated earlier, we appreciate the opportunity to come and share the work that we do as the department in relation to beefing up efforts towards building a township and rural economy. We are looking at certain components, which we identified 8 first, and the DG will get into details of those sectors that we identified. But we later then decided that let the scheme be open to all entrepreneurs that belong to our category. This we did, honorable members, because we have an appreciation of the fact that township economy does not only talk to the food industry, does not only talk to the beauty industry, but it talks to everything that revolves around township and the rural area. Whether we're talking about infrastructure in the schools that are built there, whether we're talking about energy, whether we're talking about the digital technologies and connectivity, all those, it is the people in the townships and the rural areas that do not have an opportunity to enjoy them. Therefore, the scheme that we have introduced through our agency, which is CIFA, seeks to provide that financial support to those that may take interest in those services that I've highlighted. We are working also jointly with CEDA, which provides a business development support to the entrepreneurs and cooperatives that are partaking in the businesses involved in the township and rural economy. Chairperson, as I indicated in the apology sent, my apologies as I'm also chairing a cabinet committee that I have been delegated to do. I would then request, with your permission, that I invite the Director General of the department to get into the details of the presentation that we're talking about. Whilst DG is trying to flight the presentation, I'll just talk to the figures in terms of how much do we go when we provide financial support to the SMMEs and cooperatives that are participating in our scheme. Our scheme is up to 1 million rands, and initially we had set it for 350,000, and because of the applications that we received, we saw that there's a need to at least provide 1 million rands that is provided to SMMEs and cooperatives that meet the criterion that has been set aside. Honorable Deputy Chair, ordinary members of South Africa and entrepreneurs have been complaining that we are introducing stringent measures that prohibit them from accessing the funds that we provide. And we've tried to relax all the criterion that has been set without undermining the fact that we must respond to all the legislative frameworks that we are bound by. For example, honorable members, CIFA is guided by the National Credit Regulation Act, and they have to adhere to everything that it talks about. Failure to do that, then we may see the license being revoked. And this is something that we really do not have an appreciation of. Therefore, the items that we've left under the criterion are those that are a must that you must have. Indeed, evidence that you are a South African, that you are in business, evidence that you are tax compliant. It means because we emphasize on the tax compliance side, because we are using taxpayers' monies, and therefore we ought to be able to provide evidence that the people that are giving money have an appreciation that South Africa has these regulations in place that must be complied with by all those that meet the criterion as set out by South African Revenue Services. It comes in a blended financing way, which talks to a component of being a grant and the other component being a loan. And the grant element, honorable members, we introduce it because we are aware of the challenges that are faced by our entrepreneurs, especially on working capital, and the fact that it doesn't mean that automatically when we've approved you for our scheme and gave you money, that it means you'll be able to repay the loan. And this is where we say we have a payment holiday of 6 months, and after that, the entrepreneurs and cooperatives are then able to kickstart the payment based on the agreement that they have agreed to with CIFA. And failure to pay those, if it's because of causes that are beyond the owners or the business making, it means they must then, like the issues of COVID, the disaster and all of those, it means the person that has borrowed the money, they must go back to SIFA to renegotiate the payment terms as to avoid their assets being attached. I see the DG has flighted, Honorable Deputy Chair. With your permission, I will then request him to get into detail of the presentation. Thank you, honorable members.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. DG, you may continue with the presentation. Minister, I hope you will be available for the questions from the members.
Thanks, Chair. Thanks, ministers on the platform, honorable members, deputy ministers, the MECs and colleagues who are on the platform. Good morning. I'll try and be very brief because the minister has covered some of the issues that I was going to cover with the presentation. Minister spoke briefly about our key program that is dedicated towards township and rural entrepreneurship. Based enterprises, we have that scheme. A minister did speak to it, but just to highlight that we have a cabinet did approve an intervention that is aimed at supporting small business that are based in marginalized areas. Minister did speak to the fact that there were some challenges initially in terms of the sectors that we had identified, but we had expanded it now to make sure that we cover as many businesses as possible, especially those that are driving the light manufacturing, in township and rural areas, because that's where we believe most of the jobs are going to come from. This program, Chair, is a new program. We are implementing it in partnership with our entities, given their expertise, but also their reach, because we do have them based in almost all the regions. We are still expanding and making sure that we reach as many townships as possible so that people can access the business development support as well as financial support. Also, Chair, we are in the process of finalizing the integration of CEDA, CBDA, and SIFA to be one entity. Cabinet did grant approval for us to proceed with that process, and they've given us until the 31st of December next year, 2023, because there are some legislations that we need to finalize that will further assist us in ensuring that we are able to reach as many small businesses as possible, but also aligning ourselves with the district development model, because we want to make sure that at least in each and every district, we do have capacity to assist small businesses to access both business development support as well as financial support. Where we don't have physical offices, we are working with the municipalities to make sure that they give us space so that we can operate in those municipalities. Chair, Minister did speak about the sectors that we had initially identified, because what we were trying to do here was to make sure that the programs that we come up with, they are customized according to that particular sector. For example, the needs for someone who's running a spaza shops are different from someone who is a fruit and vegetable vendor, or someone who's doing a hairdresser a business, someone who's doing an automotive support program. So we had categorized this or customized these subsectors for each and every enterprise, so that our interventions are really not just general interventions. One of the key schemes, Chair, that we started implementing was the Small Enterprise Manufacturing Development Program, which when we started, we got some funding from the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition. They gave us 200 million. It's one of the popular schemes, because with that intervention, Chair, what we're trying to do is to make sure that the products that we're mostly importing are manufactured locally. So we've got quite a number of businesses that have benefited. It's one fact of the popular schemes. It's through a blended finance style. We're making sure that we don't really overburden our small businesses with heavy loans. So we do give them support in terms of equipment if they need equipment. We also assist them, on the other hand, with non-financial support, which include ensuring that they do have the requisite approvals, they do get the standards certification, but also the issue of packaging, because that's one of the issues that have been raised by small businesses, that when they take their products to the retailers, they always find that people always choose these other products, especially the imported ones, because the packaging, the pricing is not, done properly by small business. So we are assisting them to make sure that at least they are able to compete with these big brands that are mostly imported. This is what I've just explained in terms of non-financial support that we are providing, but also for the informal businesses, we do support them because as a country, I think there is an agreement that we need to make sure that whatever business we support, we should be able to account as a department. So that's why we assist them, that those that are not registered, we assist them with registration. We hold them by hand. If they need to get permits from municipalities, we do that process through the Small Enterprise Development Agency to make sure that they get relevant permits, they get relevant certifications so that they are able to operate legally. Then we also do assist them in the packaging of funding applications, because it's critical that we don't reject people who apply. If they have made some mistakes in their applications, we do assist them to properly package their applications so that they are accepted, not just by Small Enterprise Finance Agency, but also they can get support from NEF, they can get support from IDC. So we do provide this service as a department to make sure that our small businesses really are not disadvantaged because they are unable to provide the relevant documentation. Post-investment, we're also saying as government, we should not just throw money and walk away. We need to make sure that we protect this investment by government. So we do provide this post-investment support. We do have a partnership, for example, with Productivity South Africa, so that those that are experiencing some challenges in terms of being productive as businesses, they do get support in terms of training offered by Productivity South Africa. Here, these are just some of the examples of the projects that we are doing or we are implementing in partnership with municipalities, where we contributed here 3 million, where we've supplied refrigerated containers, security gates, because it's critical that the businesses that are being run in township and rural areas, they are also compliant in terms of providing food that is of acceptable standards. We did observe, I think when the president was launching the DDM model in Wamashu that other year, that's one of the projects that was identified through that exercise, and we followed up, and this is what we've done to make sure that the interventions that are being talked about are being seen by people practically. We have to complete this project by the end of this month, which is November, and then we'll launch it. But we're working closely here, Chair, with the municipality, Tewini municipality. We also have these partnerships, Chair. I'm not going to go through each and every one, where there's a partnership with Govenbegi municipality, where we host pop-up markets, where we encourage businesses, especially SMMEs, who are producing goods. They get an opportunity to access the market. We book spaces in the malls, where these goods that are produced by SMEs are displayed, and then we do make sure that we do some marketing so that people can come through and see these goods and interact with the businesses, with the small businesses that are displaying their goods. We also have partnerships, Chair, with various banks, Absa, Nedbank, Standard Bank, in provinces, because there are some provinces, Chair, where we observe that we are not really making a serious impact. Provinces like Gauteng, Western Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, there's quite a lot of traction that has been gained, but provinces like Northern Cape, Free State, Northwest, we are not doing much. So that's why we are partnering with other stakeholders in these provinces to make sure that we reach as many businesses in these particular areas. There are also specific programs, Chair, focusing on enterprise and supplier development, where we're also partnering with those companies that are listed there, including Anglo-American, ASMAC. We have partnership with SAPI, Samanco, also Cullinan Diamond Gold One Mine in Gauteng, where we are ensuring that the businesses that are run by those people who are based in those particular areas are able to access supplier development opportunities in the businesses that are based in their own provinces. We're also working closely, Chair, with Department of Economic Development and Tourism in the Free State, together with the entity there, the Free State Development Corporation, as well as Thabo Fusanyana district municipalities, where we conducted training to 15 SMMEs because this training in terms of the standards is quite critical because it also talks to the safety, of the products that are produced by small businesses. We've also done the pop-up store in Kwakwa area to make sure that those businesses that are in that region or the district are able to be exposed, to potential customers. We also have these partnerships, Chair. We did speak about the one, gold one, in the previous slide. We also have work here closely with Ekurhuleni municipality, talking to bakery cooperatives, because I think as government we've not done well because there are very few successful cooperatives. So these partnerships are critical for us, but also targeted interventions, for cooperatives are very, very critical because they are a different type of an enterprise. They are not the same, as the other formal business or even informal business. They have certain principles they have to abide by, which unfortunately most people don't abide by those principles. So we do make sure that we provide training, people to understand what a co-op is, what are you expected to do as a member of a cooperative, what you can not do, because some they do, Chair, assume the position of becoming, they call themselves the owners of a particular cooperative. So in those instances, we do really provide support and make sure that we train them so that they do understand. So those are the listed different words there where we've intervened, Chair, where those cooperatives we are supporting are based. Chair, this is just the indicator in terms of what we've done so far, the number of jobs that have been created and those that have been sustained over a period of 3 years. And then we also put some figures for Q1 of the current financial year. The turnover increase because we also do measure whether our interventions are assisting the small businesses to increase their turnover over a period of time. You'll see that there was a decline, for example, between 2019 and 2020-21, as well as 21-22, because of the serious challenges that were faced by small businesses during the period where we were under lockdown. We had challenges around COVID. Most of the businesses, we know that they went out of business, even though we did introduce certain interventions to assist them. Some to restart their operations. We did assist some of them with what we call business viability scheme, where some had to change the way they conduct business, introducing new technologies. We did come up with those kind of interventions. So it's still a long way to go with, but we're hopeful that most of the businesses are going to thrive and make sure that they create as many jobs as possible. These are just further numbers, Chair, in terms of what we've done in supporting these businesses that are based in townships in particular. We've reached 48,000, for example, in 2019-2020. So far this year, Q1, we were able to reach 28,000. In Q2, we've reached 24,000. Then on SMEs and cooperatives, excluding TREP, because we do make sure that when it comes to Township and Rural Enterprise Program that is supported by CEDA through business development support, we provide very, very focused intervention because we have an interest in ensuring that businesses that are based in marginalized areas are successful. We've done so far this year, Q1, we're able to support 3,873. And then in Q2, we're able to support 6,241, where we make sure that we assist them both with compliance issues, because we don't want this to be a burden to the SMEs or to even informal businesses. We assist them in compliance, also assist them with the packaging of their applications so that when they take them from CEDA to CIFA, they are able to get good outcomes in terms of their adjudication of their applications. Incubators, Chair, what we've done as a policy department, we've ensured that CEDA, in their expansion of the incubation network, they focus mostly on township and rural areas, because what has been a challenge was that most of our incubators, even the private sector ones, most of them are based in urban areas because it's easier, to set up an incubator, and it's even cheaper to set up an incubator in an urban area. Whereas if you have to go to a township and rural area, you have to deal with infrastructure issues, you have to deal with other matters related to security, etc., etc. So most of the businesses, the private sector in particular, they shy away from going to township and rural areas. They prefer to go to these urban areas. So we do have incubators, for example, that we've established in areas like Alex in Gauteng. We do have incubators in Phosphorus. We do have incubators, in Limpopo, in all these other regions, mostly that are marginalized. We do work closely with DTIC, for example, in the Free State, where we have supported incubator there in the Botshabelo Industrial Park, which was revitalized by the DTIC, and then we came with the digital hub through SIDA, where we are hopeful that we are going to have some young people coming up with great ideas to solve, service delivery challenges, but also to come up with businesses that are going to be successful in these marginalized regions. It's just a further breakdown. I'm not going to repeat this. There are digital hubs that we're also running with in collaboration with DTIC, and we're also working closely here with TVET colleges. We do have quite a number of centers for entrepreneurship and rapid incubators in various TVET colleges, because we believe that the TVET colleges are, as they are an instrument of government, they can assist us to reach as many businesses which are based in these township and rural areas. We do have one that we are finishing in Kwakwa. There is a TVET college there where we are focusing. We know that the TVET college focuses on agriculture, so the incubator will also follow the same, but also there is a need there to develop this clothing and textile sector, which used to be very successful in that area. So working closely there with the Free State Development Corporation. Chair, these are further the work that we've been doing, especially focusing on supporting the informal businesses, because we do categorize these businesses accordingly, because the support that is needed by informal businesses is different from those that are formal businesses. So we do have partnerships with NetBank, where they also came up with their own money to make sure that we are able to support as many informal businesses, especially after lockdown was lifted, where we were able to reach as many informal businesses through this scheme. They also see that coming in and supporting these informal businesses, post-funding support, because even though we are not very strict when it comes to supporting informal business, we still need to go and make sure that we are able to observe and also review, the interventions that have been introduced to these informal businesses. As government, are we seeing any rate of return? Are we able to hold these businesses, because some of them can graduate and become formal businesses and increase their contribution when it comes to job creation? Chair, we also did quite a lot of engagements, because what is important for us is also to reach as many municipalities, especially in these outlying areas or marginalized areas, because it's easy for us to sit and receive applications from areas like Johannesburg, Cape Town, Durban, but people who are based in the marginal areas, they do struggle even with access to information. So what we've done as a department, each and every official, especially at DD and upper level, SMS level, they become district champions for each and every district in the country, so that they become champions of those districts within the department, but also within government. So if there are challenges, for example, that are experienced by a particular district, maybe they've sent an application to CIFA, our officials within the department, they are able to follow up on those and make sure that the feedback is provided. If, for example, a particular minister is going to a particular district, we're able to avail the support from the small enterprise development agents as well as CIFA to come and provide, support on the spot, for the people who will be attending those engagements led by different ministers and deputy ministers. Chair, this is just a quick indication in terms of support that we've provided so far. These are figures in terms of TREP, in particular Township and Rural Entrepreneurship Program. This is what we've done since the establishment of the scheme. We've done a disbursement up to 1.3 billion. You'll see that most of the money went again to these districts or to the provinces like Gauteng, KZN, and Western Cape. But we are trying to make sure that we enter into partnerships so that we get as many businesses from provinces like Northern Cape, Northwest, Free State in particular, because they are not benefiting much from various government interventions. There is a program that is driven mostly by National Treasury, but also by EDSA, which is a European Union intervention, which is working closely with us as the Department of Small Business Development, but also Department of Agriculture. They are part of this partnership. There is a set committee that engages on this. We do come up with practical interventions. National Treasury is playing a leading role in this intervention, where we're targeting 5 metros to make sure that these metros are able to drive economic development, especially in the townships that are based in this. The focus of this township economic development program is enhancing economic opportunities for small businesses, reducing policy and red tape barriers, supporting the development of markets, managing urban spaces, reducing spatial inequality, as well as protecting the ecosystem. These are practical projects that are being done so far. We do have one in Tshwane, we have one in Ekurhuleni, which are pilots, one in eThekwini, another one in Nelson Mandela, but the last one in Cape Town. These are all the partners, Chair, that are part of this National Treasury. These are various divisions within National Treasury, DSBD, CEDA, EDSA, as well as the World Bank. This project has 3 phases. Phase 1, which was the situational analysis. Phase 2, project Township Economic Development Strategy, and then phase 3, which is project implementation. These, I must indicate, Chair, the councils have approved this, or we're still waiting for final council approval for some, but CEDA is working closely in ensuring the implementation of some of these projects in the automotive sector, creative industries, as well as enhancing access to business development support. This is one of the projects that is in Cape Town to support the furniture manufacturing and home maintenance services, because in our engagements with the Department of Employment and Labor, they do have a big database of people who are qualified with technical skills, but they are not operating in a formal manner. So we worked with them, we access the database so that we can train some of these guys on the business development side, because most of them are just technicians who focus on offering a particular service, but they are unable to run it as a business. There is a scheme as part of the Township and Rural Entrepreneurship Programs that is aimed at supporting them with relevant equipment so that they are able to do their business in a more professional manner. This is the projects in Nelson Mandela, Chair, where we're focusing on the development and innovation of Njoli Square Precinct Plan. We also have another one which is focusing on supporting the tourism sector. Project 6, focusing on support for micro enterprise in the after sales automotive sector, and as well as the other last one, which is focusing on professionalizing and generating income from hobbies and activities in the creative economy, because as a department, we work closely with the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture. We assisted them with the development of the Creative Industries Master Plan, because we also had a particular interest, because most of the people who are going to be beneficiaries of that master plan are people who are, some of them are working as sole proprietors, most of them are small businesses, others are working as individuals. So it's important for us to come up with appropriate instruments. We do have an instrument, but we know that it's not sufficient. That's why we are ensuring that we collaborate with the relevant policy department, which is Sports, Arts and Culture, to make sure that we come up with specific interventions that will assist us in ensuring that the creative sector is formalized, but also is assisting in terms of job creation. Chair, these are further projects. I'm not going to go through each and every one of them, but we're just displaying here that there are specific projects in each of these pilot metros. eThekwini, we have 3 projects there, and then Ekurhuleni, we also have 3 projects. I must indicate, Chair, that we are also going big in terms of red tape reduction, because it's important for us to make sure that the small businesses do not struggle really to establish their businesses. That's why as a department, we're also in the process of reviewing the Businesses Act, which was transferred to us late in October 2020. It was transferred to us so that we can review it and make sure that this act, which was last reviewed in 1991, becomes relevant. We make it easy for people because the statistics from Statistics SA show us that most people who lose businesses, they go into informal businesses. So we need to make sure that we create that conducive environment where people may see it, or it becomes easier for them to establish these informal businesses. So we are dealing with the issues around standardization, because it's quite a challenge. Some municipalities, if you want a permit, you are expected to pay as much as 5,000, and then whereas others you pay as little as 500 rand. So there is a problem there. So we are trying to make sure that we standardize this, because those municipalities that are using the issue of permits to generate income, that is wrong, because that money is supposed to assist municipalities with administration. It's not supposed to be one of the income streams for municipalities. So we are in the process, Chair. We have to take that businesses amendment bill to Parliament next year so that it becomes law as soon as possible, because we believe that it's quite critical for us to address issues around red tape, but also cost of starting businesses. These are some of the projects, Chair, that we are driving in Tshwane. We have those 3 projects that we are driving, and CEDA is really leading there in ensuring that there is implementation that takes place. Chair, briefly here, there is also a conversation that we've started with the Department of Human Settlements because there is a need. I think they've also acknowledged that they need to start supporting people to build their own houses, to build their own houses, but there is a need for us then from the side of the department to support these people with appropriate skills, but also appropriate business development skills, because they do need, to run these interventions. Once they've gained experience in building their own houses, they are able to run these as viable businesses, and they're able to construct houses for others. These are some of the interventions. Chair, one of the last interventions that I'm going to talk about is what we call an informal and micro enterprise development program, where we provide 100% grant up to a maximum of 10,000. Here we just assist these informal businesses with equipment. It's simple equipment. If someone needs a printer, for example, they are able to access it through this scheme. If you need a fridge, especially those guys who are already running their businesses, they just need something to assist them to improve the way they run the business. We work closely here with the municipalities, with the identification of these beneficiaries, but also the municipalities, they assist us with ensuring that there is post-investment support. They go back and check whether these businesses, are they still utilizing this equipment that has been provided to them to run the businesses, because some might be tempted. There were instances in one province, Chair, where one attempted to go and sell the fridge, but when they saw that it's the fridge that was supplied by government, they consulted us, and we did put a stop to that. So the working closely with the municipalities, but also with these informal business associations, it assists us in ensuring that people are able to utilize this equipment that is provided by government to conduct their business rather than doing other things that are not supposed to be done. Chair, this is just an indication of how far we've gone in providing this support through the informal and micro enterprise development program. You'll notice there that mostly it's a women-owned enterprise. So out of 2,032 that we've provided, 1,533 are women, male 799. We also have a youth 680. One figure we are not proud of is for persons with disabilities, where we've only supported 33. We are engaging. I know that next week, for example, there is an engagement led by provincial Gauteng Department of Economic Development, where we're going to be interacting with persons with disabilities, because we want to support as many as possible, but also the schemes that we have must also talk to their needs, because we cannot just take everyone as the same. So, Chair, without wasting a lot of time, this is one of the interventions that we've come up with as game changers. This is the last program, Chair, that I'm going to talk about, the penning platform, where we are saying we've seen most of big corporates in particular, they come up with all kinds of presentations where they say they've invested so much when it comes to triple BE scorecards, enterprise and supplier development. But the impact of this, no one monitors it. And one of the issues that has been raised was that most of the money goes to consultants. So a company will come and say, we are investing 100 million to supporting small businesses, but you find that out of that 100 million, 80 million goes to a particular consultant and little goes to small businesses. So we are saying here we need to see, a particular impact, working closely with Gauteng in particular in these township economic zones that they've established. We need to make sure that we bring these corporates to invest, in these particular township economic zones. There is a commitment. We started engaging it even with the Triple B Commission and the DTIC on how we can collaborate and make sure that these ESD funds, they go a little bit further. So it's one of the new instruments that we are implementing. We started conceptualizing, but we'll be implementing it fully from 23-24 financial year. This is just further work that we are also prioritizing, Chair. I've spoken to the bill. We're also looking at these township and rural enterprise precincts. I think the DTIC presentation did speak to some of this work that is being done, the issue of the clusters, the hubs, where we are also all working together to make sure that we are able to make an impact in township and rural areas. We also learning, Chair, closely in the work that has been done, especially by Gauteng province in the township economic space. We have put some figures, Chair, which are things that we want to leverage the existing instruments that we have so that we are able to make or massify the interventions that we've already introduced. The TREP program, for example, is allocated 900 million this current financial year. And next year, we will continue implementing this program because it was a cabinet decision that we must have a dedicated scheme that talks to township and rural areas. We want to utilize what we have. We are engaging with quite a number of businesses, the corporates, but also other government departments, because they also have money that they are utilizing, but the impact is not seen. For example, the estimates that we got from National Treasury is that close to 20 billion is being invested on small businesses, but it's distributed across various government departments, but there is no monitoring mechanism. So as a department, we've taken the responsibility that we'll work closely with all these government departments. We've entered into MOUs with them so that we jointly implement the interventions that are driven by, for example, Department of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment, Agriculture. We work closely with them so that whatever intervention, for example, from Department of Agriculture, they do support small scale farmers with equipment. But when it comes to the business development side, it's important that we come in and make sure that this investment done by government does not go to waste. So we don't get people who access support, but they go under. So we need to make sure that we introduce the business development support side to make sure that these people who are able to run their small scale farming schemes in a professional manner. They are able to grow them, and the investment that is done by government is protected. Chair, I would like to stop there. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much to the Minister as well as the Director General on the presentation that was quite informative. We will now allow members to engage with the presentations by raising your hand on the raise your hand function, and we will then take the different engagement, the questions and clarity seeking, and then we will then hand it over. Thank you to both the Deputy Minister and the Minister for the presentations. Honorable members, we are now having the opportunity to raise your issues. Okay, we can start. Honorable Rider, you can start.
My hand is up.
Wow, thank you very much, Chair.
I will get back to all of you. I have now identified Honorable Rider. You may continue, Honorable Rider. There was quite an
Thank you, Chair.
issue with your network. There was an issue with
Chair,
your network.
so thanks. I'll turn my video off then if I may.
Yes.
Chair, I think so. Recently, one of our colleagues had the opportunity to visit Langa with an exceptional tour guide and who showed them the hottest spots. There was juicy gossip and there was a rich history that the tour guide shared with the tourists. Historical buildings such as the beer halls have got tremendous potential to bring, first of all, nostalgia to locals, but also history and culture and modern day trends all together to offer tremendous tourist experiences and also cater to several local small businesses. Now, with the tourist season again coming on us very soon, it seems like another opportunity has been missed with insufficient support from national government into the local tourism industry. If we're serious about unlocking the township economy, it shouldn't just be one or two spots that are highlighted, but it should be a thriving and competitive market. So the question, Chair, is, Deputy Chair, what will the department do to help to unlock these opportunities across the country, and especially in those areas that have higher tourism numbers that usually skirt around townships and the potential for SMMEs to tap into? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Rider. The next will be Honorable Khai.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chair. Greetings to you, greetings to the Minister, Deputy Minister, MEC, and colleagues on the platform. Honorable Chairperson, my question goes to the Minister of Small Business Development. We have observed that there are large or big retailers that go to the townships, and in the process, they wipe out or destroy the local businesses. My question is therefore, what is the department doing to intervene and assist the small businesses so that they don't get wiped out or destroyed by the big retailers? My second question is on the enterprise development and funding programs that the department and its entities have, as to how do these get to be known by the communities in the townships, and also the accessibilities of these enterprise development and funding programs. I thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Khai. The next will be Honorable Baha. Honorable Baha.
Yes, Chair. I'm just opening up. Chairperson, thank you for I just have one question. It's in regard to e-hailing for food shop. Legendary food spots are found in townships across South Africa, often being passed down from one generation to the next, especially in your more urban areas. People from across cities drive out of their way to get their favorite foods. Has the minister thought about engaging e-hailing delivery services to bring these favorites to people and to also help the owners to meet any standards or have the technology that may be required to qualify and participate? Thank you, Deputy Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Baha. Next will be Honorable Arnold.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson.
Yes.
Can you hear me, Deputy Chairperson?
You are audible, loud and
Thank you.
clear.
Thank you. In order for the township economy to succeed as a driver of economic development and job creation, it is important that the challenges faced by the informal sector are collectively recognized and addressed. Now, South Africa's economy has a structural bias that favors the big and larger companies, and there is a lack of coordination and intervention. Now, Chairperson, my question goes to the Minister in terms of what interventions, especially I'm talking about the Western Cape here, in Cape Town especially, where businesses, big businesses are linked to business people in townships so that it can be able to boost township economies. For one example, and here we need tangible evidence and examples of where it happens. We have Cape Town industrial area where the airport is next to Cape Town industrial area. You get the townships of Nyanga and Guguletu, a few of those townships. But what is actually the benefits and the linkage of those big companies there in terms of boosting those township economies just close to them? So we need tangible examples of that. Then, Chairperson, there are too many regulations in the country that are complicated, costly, and difficult to comply with. My question to the Minister of Small Business is, what progress has been made? Chairperson?
I'm sorry.
Okay, so my question to the Minister of Small Business is, what progress has been made in conjunction with the red tape task team with regards to legislative reforms for SMMEs? Then we know that during the COVID lockdown, there is a lot of people that lost their jobs, and a lot of people started their businesses from their houses. But Minister, if you go now to municipal offices here in Cape Town, you will find people there standing at the courts now because they are doing businesses from their houses. They have lost their jobs. So just in terms of the bylaws here in Cape Town and in the Western Cape, you need to look into those issues. And when you come to Cape Town, please go and visit those municipal courts, and you can see who is actually there, the people that started businesses and now they want to provide for their families. That is for it now, Chairperson. Thank you.
Honorable members, I will not time you, not deliberately, but let us please not go beyond the allowed time. We will not time you, deliberately not, but please also assist us so that we can get more questions in the time that is available. Honorable Christians, you will be the next.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. My question is on programs to support the vulnerable. Now, Minister, women and children are the most vulnerable, and in our townships, you often see women as the face of startups and other small businesses providing for their families. It seems, however, that as with most of the ANC government-sponsored programs, the support to the most vulnerable usually is aimed at the connected individuals. Now, Minister, my question is, what checks and balances have been put in place to ensure that double dipping in support programs are not allowed and that family and friends are not benefiting, but those truly in need of support and those that deserve it on merit? Thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson.
Also to be acknowledged, Deputy Chair. Jadu.
Deputy Chairperson.
Apology, honorable members. We seem to have lost the deputy chair. Could we continue with the questions? Apology, she's reconnecting.
Honorable Makausa can take over.
Who's chairing now?
Honorable Makausa.
I second that proposal.
No. I think house chairs are here. They are more than capable to chair the session.
Why Mukause?
If
No, I'm
the-
sorry. We have not been informed about load shedding, and unfortunately, we have really. They said 8 o'clock tonight, but all of a sudden they implemented load shedding now, and so I'm hotspotting now. I'm sorry. Honorable Christian should have experienced the same problem. That's why she was frozen there. So I'm really
Also,
sorry.
acknowledgement by Deputy Chair.
As Honorable Christian's back. If she's not back,
She had actually finished her question, Honorable Deputy Chairperson.
okay. Now I see. Honorable Kondlo, I really didn't know what happened because we were not informed about the issue of load shedding. Then it's Honorable Kondlo.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chair. Good afternoon to all the honorable members on the platform, both the Minister and the Deputy Minister. Honorable Deputy Chair, my questions, I'll only give 3 for now. One, I think, is on the legislative and regulatory framework. I would just want to understand in both the departments, have there been any regulatory impact assessment that has been done to actually consider some of the stopgap and challenges within, the legislative and regulatory environment on which township enterprises operate? I think one honorable member spoke about challenges of bylaws which actually are unfriendly in the main. If you talk about informal traders and such, have been raised in the city of Cape Town here in the Western Cape. The South African Informal Traders Association has even taken the city of Cape Town to court and won around harassment of informal traders that you find across the townships in the city. So have that been dealt with, and whether a notion of the legislative process that was raised by a small business in following on the good example of Gauteng province, whether that will take care of that. So for me, I think that is important to understand. The second one, Chair, I'm interested particularly to know whether both departments in the varied initiatives that they're doing, are they speaking to each other? Because on one hand, DSPD speaks about innovation hubs and also the same, or incubators, and also the same DTIC whilst in different spaces. How are we ensuring that there is alignment within the economic cluster in responding so that we optimize on the limited resources that the state is having? And the last one, Chair, is how are we ensuring, how are both departments in the very great initiatives that they are involved in engaging township stakeholders? Because there has been people that have been working on that space, be it forums of the township enterprises themselves. Are these being engaged so that the type of solutions and offerings that both departments are putting together, we don't end up with white elephants because the actual entrepreneurs have not necessarily been brought on board? And if so, what type of stakeholder engagement that is actually consistent in the conception right up to the implementation and evaluation of these township initiatives? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Kondlo. We will now call on Honorable Boshoff. Honorable Boshoff, it's your turn.
Baie dankie, agbare ondervoorsitter, and good morning to everybody. Honorable Deputy Minister, my question's directed to Honorable DM Gina. Deputy Minister, as you are aware, an estimated 17% of the country's total employment is through the informal economy, also known as the township and rural economy. Informal businesses contribute a growing chunk to the GDP. In 2017, it was 6%, which, if we had the figures at hand, would be much greater now. Spaza shops contribute as much as 5.2% to South Africa's GDP and employs around 2.6 million people. The expanded economy of these shops around 600 million in constant GDP numbers. Honorable DM, the TREP is supposed to be a dedicated program to transform and integrate opportunities in townships and rural areas into productive business ventures. The focus, as you know, is to create platforms that provide the business support infrastructure and regulatory environment that enables entrepreneurs to thrive. However, DM, the regulatory environment is so harsh that many who are able to venture into this market simply do not have the energy and or the capacity to do so, or just operate illegally. I'm therefore requesting you to commit yourself today to ensure that the TREP is promoted with vigor, not just through talk, but with actual on-the-ground support, that red tape is cut to ensure a more robust small business segment, which in the end will dramatically increase employment, resulting in fewer people relying on national government for grants and seeing the sector broadening the tax base, increasing the national revenue. Dankie, achtbare ondervoorsitter.
Baie dankie, achtbare Boshoff. Next will be Honorable Ndongeni.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. My question is for small business development. The first question is, the vast majority of SMEs in our townships are in the service sector, such as beauty salons, fast food outlets, and spaza shops, which has mainly been outsourced to foreign nationals. How does the department intend to ensuring young South Africans take control and ownership of the township economy, reclaiming and participate in these sectors? The second question, is the department engaging financial institutions to lower the cost of capital to ensure that the township businesses and entrepreneurs are able to access cheap finance for development, which lower the cost of debt? Thanks, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Ndongeni. Honorable Outcome.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. House Deputy Chairperson. Deputy Chairperson, we have an expanded unemployment rate at just over 44%, with youth unemployment over 61%. Without a shadow of doubt, we need our economy, which includes our township economy, to grow. The role of SMMEs and industry is critical to this growth. Now, therefore, my question is to both the Deputy Minister and the Minister. Even before COVID-19, which is now used as the normal excuse, the unemployment rate just kept rising. We have asked before if it is the political office bearers that must take responsibility for this continuous rise in unemployment figures, but every time that question gets evaded. The question then, Honourable Ministers, is it your policies that are at fault? Or is it the implementation thereof by your government that are at fault? Or is it the corruption at all levels in government that is trapping millions of people in poverty and unemployment? Or is it maybe a combination of all these factors that are to be blamed? Thank you, Honourable Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you, achtbare Outcome. Honourable Bibi, you will be the next.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Thanks for the two presentations from the DM and also the Minister, which were very detailed and clear. Deputy Chair, I've got only two questions. The first one will be, DM, I know this, the South African township economy is estimated by the World Bank to be worth 100 billion rands. However, many of these micro enterprises are not formalized and therefore unable to access grants and loans from financial institutions. Now, Minister, what efforts has the department made to put in place to formalize SMEs located in the townships. And my second question is, why is the access to funding proving difficult for Black entrepreneurs seeking to develop small and medium enterprises, especially in townships and also around townships? Thank you very much, Deputy Chair, Mama.
Thank you, Mama. We will continue, and we are calling on the Honorable Nana now to continue.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson of the NCOP. Please, may I apologize? I've got a terrible bandwidth. My internet is unstable, so if you'd allow me not to switch on my camera.
Allowed, you will continue.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson. My question is directed to Deputy Minister Gina. DM, you will probably know or remember Bonisile Nesi. He was the member of the NCOP in the 4th Parliament. In the 5th Parliament, he was in the National Assembly. Sadly, passed away a couple of years ago. May his soul rest in peace. He lived here in Grahamstown. He has a son. His name is Siyolisa Nesi. Siyolisa was very fortunate to go to one of the schools in Grahamstown, Makanda, that actually offered him entrepreneurship subject at high school level. Today, Usiyolisa is owning his own label. It's called Born to Make History. They're producing a whole host of stuff. It's very impressive. And DM, this thing does not occur by accident. It starts from being trained in entrepreneurship at a very young age. Now, my question to you, DM, has your ministry engaged the Department of Education to discuss the possibility of introducing a subject such as entrepreneurship that will better capacitate school-leaving students to compete in this vibrant, evolving market that they would be confronted with? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nana. The next will be Honorable Mushodi. Honorable Mushodi.
Thanks very much, Deputy Chairperson. Greetings to you. Greetings to ministers and Deputy Minister, MECs, members of the NCOP. Honorable Deputy Chair, my question goes to the Department of Small Business. My first question, Honorable Chairperson, is what strategic program is the small business developing for the growth in enterprises for development of the township economy, Honorable Deputy Chair? The second question, Honorable Chairperson, also go to the small business. The township economy has the potential to boost the local economy and drive development. One of the opportunities to be found is in the waste recycling industry. The development of the local waste recycling economy will lead to the cleaner and healthy environment. My question, Deputy Chair, is what kind of the program within the waste recycling sector are receiving support from the different spheres of government, and what are the challenges still faced, and how will this be addressed? Thank you for opportunity, Honorable Deputy, to raise these two questions. Thank you very much, Deputy Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mushodi. Next will be Honorable Lond.